Hello. There's too many men.
There's more girls though.
We need some more girls in it. That means we've got a man with us today.
Ugh. Ew, ick.
A big,
Ew.
strong...
Well. Anyway, let's just start the episode because I'm too excited.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding and welcome
The Unfiltered Bride Podcast. Tips from the top table and beyond.
so you know it's going to be juicy.
You'll never guess who sponsors the podcast again.
It's got to be our favourites, Crafty Lab.
If you're an avid listener, you'll know that they are the home of the viral wedding newspapers that I had at my wedding.
But we wanted to tell you even more about them, so let's do some quick fire tips.
Yes, okay, go.
You can fully personalise your newspapers. It's not a template. Each newspaper is completely different and you can write whatever you want, so it's all about you.
You can use them anywhere from ceremony chairs to wedding breakfast tables, roll them up with string, choose a booklet option or leave them flat. They all look bougie.
They can be fun and functional, crosswords, order a service and taxi numbers.
And all those tips I give on TikTok. Think Irish goodbyes, meet the wedding party, your love story, anything and everything.
Printed in classic black and white or colour, there's loads of options to make sure they fit your wedding aesthetic.
It's easy. They basically do it all for you. And I am 100% certain that your guests are going to love it. So make sure you get your order in now.
Don't forget to use the code UNFILTERED for 10% discount too.
So ladies and gentlemen.
Boys and girls.
Please
be upstanding.
It is my honour to introduce the man, the myth, the legend, my husband, Brian.
Woo!
Hi guys.
Hello.
It's weird being on this side of the production.
You've got all professional again.
It's been your dream though, hasn't it?
It has been my dream, yeah.
Brian has begged every single day since we started.
Please let me on.
Please, girls, please.
Everyone in the comments keeps asking for it.
They love me.
Gonna inject some professionalism to this podcast.
Boring. No, but in all seriousness, people have actually been begging you to come on. So
Have they?
Yeah. Well, one person asked one time. Maybe it's you.
That was it. Fake account.
But in all seriousness, we have got loads of questions and we want your groom perspective on getting married.
Honest.
Yes.
All
Okay.
we want is honesty.
I promise on here to not get...
No, Brownie promise.
I solemnly swear that I will not get mad at Brian for anything he says on this podcast outside these hours.
So I can say...
You can say
Continue.
anything.
Okay.
And
Unfiltered.
Unfiltered. I might have a go at you on the episode, but when we leave here, we're back to... It's like it never happened.
Right.
Disclaimer,
I promise.
this is going to be juicy. So where do you
Deal.
want to start? I feel like I need to start.
Wait, I was going to let Brian... Start by telling people about you, like what you do.
I feel like you talk about me enough on this
I know,
podcast.
but tell
People
everyone...
know.
So have your own chance to say.
This isn't an interview.
No, but like a bit about like...
Where's the personality, Brian?
I know.
Brian, you're my only friend.
I want to make the TikTok where it says, Brian, you're my only friend.
Yeah.
Look, you took your sweet ass time proposing to Georgie.
Oh, that's a good question.
You've got to make sure you're ready.
Do you
You've gotta make sure
know,
you're ready.
from a guy's perspective...
Don't give me that shit. Sorry.
Okay, well, let's start there. That's probably a good place to start. I used to hate marriage.
Oh, wow.
So when we first got together for the first 8 years, maybe, I was really anti-marriage.
I feel like I'm going to cry on this episode.
But why?
I think it stemmed because I was like a staunch atheist. I used to be really against God. Not that I'm religious now, but I used to put them in the same bucket. Marriage was the same as religion. So
Cue
like,
the hate comments.
so like, in my mind, I was like, marriage is what? Like, we've been together for, at the time, 6 or 7 years. We have a house. We have a child.
What's the point?
Marriage is literally just a piece of paper.
And
then,
we argued about it. Can I just say that? Like, I didn't
Yeah.
just sit there all placid, like, okay, no problem. Like, let me
and it's
know.
not because I always thought I would get married, but it was never a priority for me. Like, it was never, I never thought, oh, actually, yeah, you know, there was nothing that was going to happen in my mind that was going to make me do it. And because Georgie kept saying, when are we going to get married? I mean, you've said this before, but I used to always say, every time you ask me about marriage, it adds another 6 months onto when I'm going to propose. And that was just
This is why it took so long then, yeah.
but that was just my way of delaying it, because I just thought.
Fun fact,
What?
Georgie actually proposed to herself at the end and just
And
got Brian stage.
I think that's what a lot of
pictures.
guys, to be honest, it was an immature mindset. And I think a lot of guys that do say those things, it's because they're just too immature to accept the commitment of marriage. Because even though it seems, I minimized it by saying it's nothing, but actually as soon as I realized it is an important thing to do,
He's so cute, isn't he?
Dig at Jack there.
No, but he can.
Jack, you're too immature.
This
But you
episode is
were.
dedicated to
Jack.
Jack Newman.
But you are right, because it was an immature thing, as in.
But it wasn't because I was immature, because I was quite a mature
No, you were
person.
immature about
my view
marriage.
on relationships, because my parents split up. We've talked about this quite a lot. My view of marriage is always people always end up breaking up for whatever reason. So what's the point in committing fully? Even though I never really said that, that is what it was.
Did you feel a lot of pressure from not just Georgie, but outsiders, like family, friends?
Yeah, but it all came from Georgie's pressure.
No.
Oh, sorry, should I not be honest?
No, you can be honest, but I'm going to be honest back. Is that you get to a certain age?
You don't need to shout. It's
Yeah,
okay.
the microphone's right in front of
Okay,
you.
sorry. Hold on.
Don't need to shout at Brian. He's in the same
I'm
room.
the producer and the editor, so I'm trying to do this all at the same
Cut it
time.
out then. Do what you want. That's not entirely fair, because everybody in my family, everybody asks everybody when you get to a certain age, and especially because
Agree.
we've been together for so long and we had a child and we had a house. Even if I wasn't going on at you, everybody else would have been. So I would like you to retract that statement, please.
Did you feel pressure from Georgie's job and the industry?
Yeah, because marriage is in the forefront of conversations for work and stuff like that. Yeah, it was. But I think that made it more of a reason not to, because we both worked weird hours, and it was kind of, I don't know, it was always an excuse, I think. It was because we didn't work this. We've never had a 9-to-5 lifestyle of, like, we had evenings off, the typical sort of couple, I would imagine. So I think we always, I don't know. I think in your mind, you had this vision of what was going to be. And I think that's the difference between stereotypically men and women, is guys tend not to think about this stuff unless they have a role model dad or mum that instills that from a young age, which I didn't have. Like, that it was important to get married. My view of marriage is always negative. So unless somebody exposed to that sort of stuff, it was never a priority to me.
Yeah.
So even when we were together and I wanted to be with you forever, that was never...
That's not the only reason as well, though. Money was also a massive reason.
Yeah. But it was also an excuse.
Ooh.
And I think it's an excuse, like, and it wasn't a conscious excuse. Like, I look back now and you think, yeah, okay, now because we could afford it and stuff. But beforehand, that's just another financial. I mean, I'm sure we'll get into money and marriage and stuff, but that is always an excuse for a lot of guys that say, oh, it's money. I think that is just a forefront. Like,
Yeah, 'cause I got
most
pissed
people
off
have
at
the money
you.
to spend on something else.
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking about marriage, or you can just do it for, 500 quid at a registry office and just have a party. If marriage is the important part, which is what I always said to you, the party wasn't really important to me, which it then did become important to me. Now that I'm married, I look back in hindsight, actually it is quite important, but at the time it wasn't. I think a lot of guys that are too scared to commit, which I think is a lot of it.
But is it too scared to commit?
Yeah, I think
Because
it is.
we've been together forever.
Yeah, but a lot of it just happened because we were together. We bought a house really young, so we were kind of just thrown into the deep end. Well, we were, and
saying
then
that I
we
forced
had
you
a
to-
child, which we didn't plan. So from my perspective, it was just kind of, we just went along with it. So marriage for me was the first time where I was like,
A choice.
this wasn't you have no control, even though you thought you did for 10 years. You had no control of it. So for me doing that was like, yeah, okay, cool, 100% committed. Not that I didn't feel 100% committed before. That was we're committed.
At what point did you decide that you were going to propose?
It coincided with me sorting out my money shit.
But at
but
what
that was
point, what was the trigger in your head? Did I just look really pretty one day and you thought,
Yeah, I'm going to marry her.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the one
Yeah,
for
some
me.
real
she's
some
alright.
tight jeans on.
Definitely the one for me.
no, but what was it? There must have been a moment
There
where you
wasn't
thought,
there wasn't a pivotal
Was
moment.
there like a penny drop and be like, right, I need to, like, when did you think I need to
Ready.
speak to Holly about rings?
I think COVID, it changed my life.
Yeah.
Like, not to try and make this a deep, but like, it changed my life financially, even spiritually. I'm not even spiritual, but like, it made me view religion differently. It made me view family differently. So I became a different person. I'm sure Georgie will agree. From COVID, I just
Different perspective, yeah.
mentally grew up in pretty much
Yeah.
every aspect of my life.
well, in that time, in the last, 3 years, you've also quit your job, started businesses, changed your whole financial situation,
Yeah.
got married.
So I don't think
everything.
there was one thing. I think all of that together made me go, oh, actually, marriage is important. So I need to take the steps.
We have goals that we write every year. So on our phone, it's got a little goals thing.
Was yours marriage every year for the last 10
Yeah.
years?
Well, but also at Christmas every year, we write down. So when we put away our Christmas decorations, we write our future selves a letter and we put it in with that. So when we take our Christmas decorations out, we read it all of the time. Mine was like, "Are you engaged yet?"
Oh,
I know, it's really sad when I look back at it because you were a bit of a dick for not proposing.
So,
But
what would you say?
no, wait, I was going on the goals. So on his goals, so I never looked.
No!
We don't look. It had up to propose. How cute is that?
What awkward if you fucking didn't.
No, I know. I said no.
Yeah,
That's cute. So it was on your radar. So
that must have
I've
been.
got so many questions.
That must have been 20. It must have been on your 2020 goals,
Oh,
which,
I love
which we wrote
that.
in January 2020, and you proposed in December 2020.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
You
So-
was
so-
like, shit, the letter's coming up. I need to propose.
So it was important. It was important to
Literally
me.
last day of the year.
If I mean, you know, you've talked about why I talk about money and stuff like that, but it's really important to me to not be in debt. So for me, a big part of it was for me to get your engagement ring coincide with me getting out of debt. So when you weren't aware of me being in debt, which I don't recommend, but you weren't aware that I
Highly don't recommend that.
I got myself into it, so I wanted to get myself out of it, and that coincided with, okay, well, I need to get your ring at the same time, and I'm not going to put it on a credit card, so I had to kind of do it all at the same time without you knowing.
Yeah, because you prior to that you were really shit with money, so I always said that I would know because it would come out of like our joint money, which it didn't. So well done, kudos.
Yeah, so it for me, proposing it all came from the same growing up stage of my life, which was COVID.
Nice. Does that make you feel proud?
Yeah, I am very proud of you. You
So-
were a child before.
But now that I'm on the other end of that, when I talk to people who in a similar situation to what I was in, it's really clear that they're just talking shit. They're just making excuses.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it, again, not to get deep, but a lot of it is to do with the lack of religion. And we're not religious. We
No,
didn't
I
have
was gonna
religious
say,
ceremony.
you'll
We've
bring
never
up
been religious.
religion a
But I think the breakdown of religion in the country is the reason why there's so many non-married people that get to 10 years like we did. If we were religious, we would have got married earlier. And I think actually our relationship may have been stronger earlier if we were married earlier. I would have been, because I was against it, we didn't. But if we had done, I mean, not to say that we haven't
But
got
do
an
you feel
amazing
any
life
different now we're married?
Yeah, a little bit.
Do you?
No.
Fuck's sake, all of that for nothing, Brian.
No, but I knew it. But I knew it was for nothing. As in, hold on. Wait.
It was all for nothing.
Yeah, but I was committed from the start.
What's the point in this podcast?
No, wait, I'll tell you. Because we had a child, I was committed from the moment we had a child. You clearly weren't from your story that you've just told.
What,
and the
ready for a
marriage is the
child?
commitment. No. You said you weren't. You didn't propose until you were like agreeing to commitment.
Yeah.
Whereas I agreed to commitment the day that I agreed to have your child.
Yeah, but it's not that literal, because obviously I did agree to commit.
No,
'Cause
I
if
know,
didn't
but
commit,
that's why
left,
the marriage bit to me doesn't feel hugely different.
marriage to me was bigger than a child and
Fuck
buying a
off.
house. Yeah, it was.
Then having a child, maybe this is where we differ. Mine was.
Because
I think
it's
I
easy
grew
to have
up
a
the
child
day
and just be able to walk away, or,
yeah, but we
be
didn't.
like,
But I feel like I grew up the day I had a child. You grew up the day you proposed. There we go. Look
there
at
you
that.
go.
This
Alright.
is very deep.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's some of the
Sorry.
deep
Sorry,
questions.
guys.
It's
It'll
like
get funny in a
counselling
minute.
Okay,
session.
be funny.
So what do you recommend for people like me who are in a relationship, bought a house together,
Might have a dog.
have a dog together, and for him, buying the house is a bigger
If my name was Jack.
Yeah, if my name was Jack, who can afford a wedding,
But also-
and can afford a ring. But for him, the biggest commitment for him was us buying a house together, because he thinks finance is that's
But
like,
you've done that now.
yeah, we've done that,
But
but there's still no
also-
fucking ring.
No, but you also, do you want kids first? Do you want to buy a house? Like, people are in that situation.
Yeah, but like for me, we want kids, yeah. But like I just happily be engaged for a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Like what is for me, getting engaged, like that's a commitment to be like, I'm gonna marry you.
I also wonder if how long you've been together, because the only reason we got to 10 years is because we met when we were 18. If there's no way if I met you when I was 25, I would have let you wait 10 years before we got married.
Yeah.
I
I hear that, yeah.
I would have full on ultimatum. Like, what age would you get to before you were like,
but
seriously? now or
ultimatums
never?
don't work. I mean, they don't
They
work.
do for women,
not
though, 'cause we'll-
effectively.
yeah, but we'll
Not
leave.
effectively. A guy can't be.
No, we won't.
A guy can't be bullied into it, because if he is, it's not going to last.
See, I think this is the problem. He's very stubborn.
Yeah.
And he's like, the more people ask me, the more you talk about it, the less I'm going to do it. Is that an excuse?
I think.
Yeah.
I
Is
think
he going to propose?
I think as soon as you make it it's for us, it was a taboo subject for such a long period of time. We would, if we spoke about it, it ended in an argument.
Yeah, fair.
And that's not to say a woman shouldn't be like, oh, I want to get married. I think I think an ultimatum from my perspective would have pushed me away.
No, because
if you said to me, you need to do it by then,
but
I'd
there's
be like,
no way.
Well, what are you going to do?
And this
Take my kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. But this is, and genuinely no shade to people that get married when they're older. But because we'd been together since 18, there was no way that I was going to be waiting until I was 35 to get married.
Yeah.
Which is where I would have
where
absolutely given
in
an ultimatum.
hindsight we should have communicated more about it in a way that didn't end up in an argument. I know that's easier said than done, but we should have found a way to sit down and have a growing conversation.
You promised me that when our daughter started school, we would all have the same surname.
Did I promise
and
you, or did you say
lied.
that needs to happen?
No, you
and then
lied, Brian.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Maybe it's good to do, like, you do your goals and what you, maybe it's like, again, we've had this, from this conversation, it's very clear that people's priorities are very different of what's first, a house,
child,
marriage, and like work it out that way because
you said you wish we were married before we had Isla, whereas I don't.
But again, that comes.
Isla, like, let's scrap Isla out the picture and you two were dating and you would have probably been like house, marriage, kids.
Probably.
Again, depends on the age.
The age you were at.
Yeah.
Like, would you have picked to have Isla house over a marriage at that age before? I know you can't. It's hard to say.
We're only
it's
saying
so
it now because
it's so hard to say because
you can't imagine not life without it.
If I could have the perfect way, I would have said get married first.
Yeah,
but we would have ended up being married at 22.
So,
but that's too young for me.
Yeah, but you're
only lapped it up.
You're just basing it on your life now.
I don't know about you,
yeah,
but I'm feeling 22.
No, I just think.
Anyway, the moral of the story is, for a guy's perspective, they need to do some soul searching.
So what are we supposed to do? What's Beth supposed to
do? Try and communicate and work out together if marriage is a priority, and then I don't know, have a conversation about. I don't. As soon as you say it needs to be done by this time, you become this become this needy woman who's desperate to get married.
Shall I tell you why?
Is that me?
Okay. Yeah.
Is that me?
No, but because for a man, there is no internal clock whatsoever. For women, it's difficult to get pregnant after, I don't know, what is it, 35?
Yeah, I agree with you.
So if you want to get married before that,
wait,
then there is because I'm so mad for everybody else.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree with you.
But when you say that we should just sit back and just wait.
I didn't say sit back and wait. I said you need to be able to communicate with your partner in a way that you're like, okay, do our goals align? Because for us, the reason why we're better in a relationship now and why life is better for both of us, whether it's financially, job, whatever, is because we have goals together. We sat down and went, right, this is the future we want together. How are we going to map that out? And if marriage fits within that for people, which it generally will do, then that's what happens.
This episode's really stressed me out because I go from really hating him to really fancying him again. Like I'm back and down.
Yeah, but we never did that. Up until 3-4 years ago, we never sat down and went, right, financial. I mean, I know I'm biased to talk about money all the time, but I think that's a huge part of potential marriage for a lot of people. Yeah. Even people who look on the surface like they got money, their money is an issue in the back of their mind going, oh my God, this wedding's going to cost 30-40 grand. I can't afford it.
So majority of people listening to this podcast are engaged.
Yes.
Yeah.
So buying the ring, was there pressure on how much you spent due to like society and what women think you should spend?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't want to get a shit ring, obviously.
Thank
but
you.
like,
everyone's going to be looking at Georgie's ring, so.
I was in a unique perspective of Georgie had a mate who has a jewelry business and I could have got it cheaper than the average person.
Bargain.
And
Thanks,
also,
Holly.
and also she could design the ring for her. So I couldn't really have gone wrong. If it was the wrong ring, it was Holly's fault, not mine. So I was in a unique position, but if I wasn't in that position, I would have felt the pressure way more. Mm-hmm. And I probably would have gone an extra couple of grand max, or at least $1,000 more, just to be safe, because there'd be nothing worse. I would have felt awkward about giving you a ring and like, I would have been obvious on your face that it was a shit ring.
So what about women? What if I didn't ignore the fact that it's Holly and that she knew exactly what I wanted? How would you feel if I didn't like the ring and I said to you, I don't like it?
Would you rather us tell you? Or would you rather not know?
And at what point should we tell you? Like not straight
not when you're down
on the knee.
It would have made me feel shit because I spent months saving up for it, planning it, hiding it. and then to give it to you, it's quite a big moment, obviously.
Basically, don't be a bitch.
For you to then be like, oh, I don't really like it. Okay, cool. Like, or at least pretend from a woman's perspective, at least.
So we pretend for a bit, and then a few months later we say, look.
Yeah, but again, it comes down to communication. How are you going to approach that subject? If you make it obvious in your face when you propose, then yeah, you're a bitch.
I don't think anybody would say as they propose, I don't like that ring. But I do definitely know of women that have had a ring, and then because this ring is like forever, that they have then said, do you mind if I make some alterations to it?
Yeah, I'm not against that, but I think But then there's some people who propose without a ring and then go and get a ring together, and I'm not against that either.
Yeah, all right. Would you be mad if Jack did that?
What?
Give you a stand-in ring and then said we're going ring shopping.
He knows what ring I want.
Fine, okay.
But I think a guy.
I've made it pretty fucking goddamn obvious.
I think the optimal is a guy picks a ring based on what he knows that she likes, and then
Puts
does
their
it.
own spin on it.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're engaged.
No, wait. I want to go back a tiny bit. Who did you tell that you were proposing?
Good question.
Just Isla.
How the fuck did Isla keep that secret?
I think it was just
I'm
Isla. Yeah, I
impressed.
didn't tell anyone.
No, you
else
told my
before.
dad.
Yeah, but that was like 5 days before.
Your kid can keep a secret from you.
She can. She's. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Isla knew when I got the ring, so it was like 3 months before, 2-3 months before maybe, and then.
It hurts my heart.
Yeah, and then I asked your dad on Christmas.
So you didn't tell Hannah?
Christmas Day.
You must have told Hannah because she came.
Yeah, and Hannah. Yeah, it would have been Hannah as well. Yeah.
Wait, I need to know how you asked her dad.
I know. Actually, Hannah knew quite early on because I sent her. There was 2 options for rings, and I said to her, "Which one do you think?"
Can I see the other one?
No.
What was the other one like?
It was pretty similar.
Without the diamonds
It
around
was
the
pretty
edge?
similar, but I just said to her, just like,
Wait, what were their reactions? They're like, oh my god!
Well, you just text Hannah a picture of 2 rings.
I can't remember whether I told her in person or on.
We need
on
to know
WhatsApp.
this. I need to know word for word what was said.
She might have known first, actually.
Oh. So Holly knew first,
Yeah,
then Hannah,
yeah,
then Isla,
yeah.
then
your
my dad,
So 4.
and then my dad sold his wife. 'Cause
5.
he's a dickhead. Okay, tell us about my dad. Tell us about Isla.
When I showed her when the ring got delivered.
How did the ring get delivered? Didn't you meet Holly in a car park?
Yeah. We banged and then
Dickhead.
Here we go again.
No, don't, because poor old Jade that we said about the second shooter. At least she got some inquiries from it, but
I said nothing to you guys said that. It was
it's
nothing
our
to do with
fault.
me.
You left it in.
Yeah, Pure Gym, shout out, Gloucester, in the car park.
Yeah.
Exchange looked like we're doing a drug deal.
Yeah.
And then, yeah,
Got
the
home.
rest is history. Got home, showed Isla, and she was...
What was her reaction? You should have filmed that.
Yeah,
should have.
she looked pretty happy, to be fair. She did look happy.
Why should you put in that face?
Because I'm going to cry.
Yeah, and there's nothing else to tell really about.
Pressure on asking Georgie's dad. How would you feel if he didn't ask your dad?
Furious.
Yeah, but Georgie's dad's quite traditional in a lot of ways. Mm-hmm. So I would have wanted to do that anyway.
Okay, so you're engaged. The wedding planning is starting. You're so excited. You can't wait for the wedding. How are you feeling?
I think I survived on adrenaline for a lot of it. Well, to be honest, we had such a busy year leading up to it, with you working, just life in general.
Mm. Do you not remember our first conversation about the wedding?
Yeah,
That wasn't good,
we
was
argued,
it?
didn't we?
How
Yeah.
quick after the proposal was it?
Probably
Very quickly, I think.
the
Next
Christmas
week, maybe?
decorations went down, and I was sat at my computer doing some work. I don't know, you must have come in and I was like, right, okay, so wedding planning. Brian, you can take it on from here.
Fuck's sake.
And this, to put some context, is we do a budget every single month with our personal finances. Mm-hmm. We talk about money a lot, and even the subject of money to do with the wedding still caused an argument.
Yeah. Because our expectations of what was being spent were very different, but equally
Wait, how different?
thousands of pounds different.
Wait, what did you expect?
I'm not going to do figures because I don't want
Mislead people.
I don't want to mislead people, because I will say that we were very lucky with our wedding that I worked for some other people to get stuff for the wedding. We swapped and things. So I'm not going to say figures because it's irrelevant.
But can I have like that? How many thousands?
10, a good
different?
10 grand different.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well,
I would have spent a lot more than what Brian agreed to spend.
So how did this conversation go?
I'm pretty sure you just said how
What's
much.
the budget?
Yeah. What was the budget?
And he said something and I was like, you joker. And he was like, I'm not spending a penny more than that. I was like,
but from
I am.
from our mates, from people we know, from conversations I hear about, like even Zoom calls that you have, that's a common thing. The guy does not want to spend much money on the wedding.
That's very true. And also we didn't have help from parents. So it's not like
we did a little bit. Your mum paid for the dress. And
my mum bought my dress.
So
my dad gave us some money for the honeymoon. But in terms of wedding budget, it was all coming from us.
But again, we were never going to go into debt for our wedding.
Again, I would have gone into debt for our wedding.
Yeah, I wouldn't. For me, that was a moral thing. I would not. I would thought of nothing worse than the day after our wedding thinking, fuck, I've still got 10 grand to pay off.
Yeah, all right. I mean, in hindsight,
but you would have been like, yeah, worth it though.
But to me, yeah.
That was one hell of a party.
But a lot of people paid
even if I spend another
after.
5 grand on our wedding, but we did it beforehand, I wouldn't even think twice about it because we could have afforded it. As soon as you had an extra 10 grand whack on a credit card or whatever.
But the problem is, as you get closer to the wedding, there's bits that have to be paid for.
Yeah.
I paid for stuff for our wedding. No. I paid for stuff for our wedding that you don't know that I paid for our wedding, which came from my money.
Yeah, but that's a you problem. because we agreed an amount and we said, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Whatever you do extra,
always
that's
happen
on
like
you.
That. Yeah, but it doesn't work like that. As you get to the last 2 weeks of the wedding, stuff comes up.
Okay, as an experienced wedding planner,
yes.
you should know that there's a buffer of.
You wouldn't let me have the buffer.
Guys,
you wouldn't let me have a buffer.
Savage.
That is savage. You wouldn't let me have the buffer. The figure
what
that
could
you
possibly
gave,
come up that was unexpected for a wedding planner?
Mate, I'll tell you what. Shall I tell you what?
Please do.
Would you like me to tell you things?
Go on.
No, I'm not good at it.
So the moral of the story is
we
overestimate your budget, even if it's by 10%.
But also, you don't realise that other people change stuff, not us.
Like who?
Just like...
Yeah, well, that was the most stressful part of wedding planning.
Yeah, we'll come on to that. I think that was not fun. But it wasn't plans that we had. It was stuff that would happen and they'd be like, well, we need to do this. And I'm like, say, right, okay. Then we need this. All right, okay. Didn't think about that.
So first steps are figure out your budget and don't argue.
No, have the argument.
Get it out of the way.
I think arguing's okay as long as you come to a resolution.
Yeah. I think arguing's okay.
I think arguing's okay.
As long as you don't agree to go on credit cards.
Yeah. We both understood what I explained from my point of view, the pressure that was coming from the industry. Like, I'm not going to hide away from the fact that everybody was expecting my wedding to be very good.
Word for word, as Brian said, that sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
But then Brian was being a little bitch and wouldn't let me spend more.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think if you don't argue, then one of you's hiding something. That's kind of my view on it. If you just go, yeah, okay, like someone's whacking someone on the credit card or something like that.
Very fair point, because I've had a client before and I can full well tell that he is not comfortable with the amount being spent.
Yeah.
And anytime money came up as a conversation, he felt super uncomfortable. And she put the pressure on him to make, and that's
way worse than just having a little brief discussion, argument, whatever, and then come to a resolution.
Because it can put you into a really bad mental state. So if you're putting pressure onto your partner when you know it's making them feel a little bit uncomfortable or you're not even aware of it, that's really sad.
That's where keeping up with the Joneses comes into it massively. And I see it so much. Like, I'm not in the wedding industry, but I'm so close to it. I can see it, that so many people... Like, for you, it's a bit different because you work in the industry, but you're still susceptible to it because you think
100%.
People are going to be viewing what I'm doing and it can't be shit because X, Y, Z.
Yeah, but whether you're in the industry or not.
That's what I'm saying. Like that, but that's what causes people to go into massive debt for a wedding. And then that is the start of a relationship, A, in debt, B, resentful. The likely way around is the guy's resentful because the girl spent more money on the wedding than he was prepared to do. What a shit way to start your life together. How
would you say that couples should deal with when they want weddings? Because you would have happily eloped.
Yeah. I genuinely would have gone to a registry office and had a party.
We did do that for the first one.
I would have spent less on a wedding than we did on our first wedding.
Yeah, it's because you're cheap.
No.
Joking.
No, it's really not.
I'm only joking. You're not cheap. You're...
I feel like I want this chair to kind of swallow me up.
Yeah.
I would have gone on holiday and spent a third of what we spent on our wedding on a nice holiday somewhere.
It's about priorities. It's like one of the first episodes we spoke about, wasn't it?
Yeah.
What is a priority to you at the wedding? But you were more than happy to spend money on a drink and a good bartender.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You blew the budget on that.
essentially, like we joke, like the start of my speech was "Welcome to Georgie's wedding." It was like, and it wasn't because I was just, oh, fine, do whatever you want. I accepted that a wedding was a big part of what you wanted to do in life.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
And it was an important date for you. So I just kind of accepted that we're going to have to spend money on this. Like, that's fine. But we both had to agree with the amount as close as possible as we could. Yes, we had to fight. We had to argue. We had to go, oh, no, we're doing this, we're doing that. Compromise on certain things. But we came to an agreement and cool. If I would be sitting here now resenting you if I just from the beginning was like, yeah, do whatever you want, and you spend an extra 10 grand more than I was prepared to spend, I'd be fuming at you. And I think there's nothing worse. And I think that is such a common thing in relationships.
Yeah.
One person has an idea in their head of what they want.
And
the other
I
person
forever
just
hate
is
you
either
if we
too
don't.
afraid or whatever, for whatever reason, they don't push back.
All right.
So how much involvement did you want in the wedding day? Like, did you want to be involved? Did you care that, like, let's take money out of it for a second. Like, did you want to be involved in some of the decisions that were being made, or were you like, I don't really care?
Not really.
Why? Because
I don't know.
you don't care?
No, I don't know what it is. I think genuinely, and not to sound in any way like it's a sexist thing, but guys, I think in general, don't think about wedding. It might be societal pressure from a young age, but anything you watch on TV, any conversations you have, girls think about weddings from a young age. I never did.
Yeah, there's not a show called Don't Tell the Groom because it's just.
I'm not saying that guys haven't or don't, but I never did. Nobody I ever spoke. I never spoke to a mate about your wedding day at age 15. Like, oh, what are you wearing on your wedding day, mate? Like, that's not. And that's not to say that's not something that happens, but it's not something that happened to me. So it was never in the when you asked, when we came and had the meeting with Beth and the team here for styling, yeah, that was interesting because I was here. But before that, I didn't think about it.
Yeah,
like,
you were annoying at that meeting because you actually had an opinion.
I'm
and I was
glad
like,
he found it interesting.
Yeah.
To be fair, actually, with us, we speak predominantly to the brides before, and then the bride and groom come in together. And my oh my, do you grooms have an opinion when you're sat?
Yeah, but I think it's because generally guys don't think about it, and then when you're presented with some options. A guy will go, actually no, that shit, and it seems like all of a sudden he's got an opinion.
No, that's nice.
Obviously,
That's nice.
Nothing
That's
at
nice.
etiquette
That was
events.
nice.
But no, but in like, I think guys tend to be more
On the spot.
better decision making when they can see something,
Visual.
whereas
And
a girl
there you go.
has
We don't need a
visualized
charge
it for
plate.
ages.
How much are charge plates? I'm sure we had a conversation about charge plates and cutlery, and I was like, we're not having silver cutlery when everything is, and you were like, it doesn't matter, just whatever.
So when you say how much
fork's a fork.
when you say how much input you want about the day, there's some things that I did have quite a strong opinion about, like, and it was mainly alcohol, which doesn't make me sound like an alcoholic, but it was because of my history bartending and stuff like that.
Yeah.
From outside looking in, Brian's obsessed with money and
and drink.
alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only two things I really need.
But typically, and being very like
Doesn't need you, just need money and alcohol.
yeah. But I feel like this whole episode is going to be quite stereotypical because unfortunately we are a different sex couple, and you're quite a standard male. But the booze and the cost of things are the bits that, in my experience, the men have discussed.
And suits.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I don't even know if you
opinion?
cared
But that's the
much on
problem
that.
when girls talk about weddings, they're talking about, I don't know, flowers, tablecloths, things like that. That guys do not think about. So when
What colour
So
were
when
our
it might
tablecloths,
appear to some people like guys don't give a shit because they're not talking about the same
What colour
stuff.
were our tablecloths?
What colour?
Yeah.
Stone.
Yeah!
He looked at the invoice.
No, it's but that I couldn't have visualized what the room was gonna. Even though I saw the table plan,
Yeah.
have worked in the venue multiple times, I still couldn't picture it. You guys probably could picture it. Whereas when I go, yeah, this is really good. Like, but guys generally don't.
So when I
think
was
that
planning the wedding, what were you? So would you recommend to other grooms to sit down with their partners and say, these are the things that I care about and therefore want an input on?
And it might be nothing, but yeah, I think so.
And then these are the things that you can just go mad and do what you want.
Honestly, it sounds like a big counselling session, but it's all about communication. And from experience, weddings are one of the most stressful things you can do in life.
Preach.
Having a child was pretty stressful, but
I feel like having a child is a longer
condensed,
period.
Yeah, it's condensed and it's distilled into one day, and it kind of leads up to, and you know it's going to be that day, you know there's pressure, and everyone fucks you around 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before things happen. Like for us, our accommodation for half of our guests pulled out 2 weeks before, like things you can't anticipate. So like there's a load of pressure on this one day. If you guys aren't in a good place communication wise and just say, this is the problem, right, how are we going to resolve it? If you don't do that, it's never going to end well.
I would question, I reckon if you ask couples after their wedding where they are on their spectrum of happiness together on their wedding day, it would be pretty low. Just because it's been
on the wedding day.
As in if you had to put it in, no, hold on. Let me explain better.
Were you not happy on our
Hold
wedding
on,
day?
fuck's
So
sake.
she said
All right, the day before.
She's getting
then.
married for nothing.
Yeah.
And she wasn't happy on the wedding day.
Let me explain. Do you not think as a couple, as a couple, we
the
are...
trailer for this episode is going to be savage.
What I'm saying isn't coming out right. All of the stress, all of the drama, we didn't really argue much, but all of the arguments that I know that couples have right up into the lead up of that day, on their relationship happiness scale, they're probably here because it's been fucking horrible. Yeah. If you compare them to that day and their honeymoon when they're chilled and they've done it all, they would be much happier after.
Well, let me ask you then, how do you think you lower that stress?
You can't. I honestly don't think you can.
I think you can.
How? Communicate.
You lower your expectations as in
you can't lower your expectations of your family on the lead up to a wedding. Like, because that's the things that made us not even argue together, but made us sad.
Putting the date up on this, like, this has to be the most amazing, best day of my life. Nothing can go wrong. And then as things start going wrong, everything else starts crumbling because your ideal picture of what your day was going to be isn't what you thought it was going to be. So if you're sat there on your wedding day and you're not thinking, I'm actually getting to marry, the person I want to be with for the rest of my life, and I've got my family and friends here, surely that's enough to evoke happiness on the day.
I didn't explain myself very well. On that day,
no, I think you explained yourself very clearly.
I was extremely happy, but the amount of stress and pressure and not niceness that we had in the lead up to our wedding compared to now, like now we're like pretty cool and chill and happy and blah, blah, blah. That's how I'm trying to explain it. I don't mean my happiness on the wedding day.
There was relief after we got married in the sense of like, it's finally done.
At each other's throats right up until that day. And on the day they're like, hi, oh my God, you look
But I feel like it's because you're facing things you've never gone through together as a couple before. And you're in a situation, like Brian said, it's this one big day that you've spent you saved all this money for. Like, it's got to be perfect. So you're like,
Yeah.
Like,
and
you're never in that situation, really.
And we had some proper shit leading up to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what parts did you find stressful, Brian?
Fucking people. Honestly, just managing people.
At what point, so how long were you engaged for?
2 years, exactly.
So in that 2 years, at what point were you like, this wedding's stressing me out?
2 months before.
So you were chill.
Yeah.
Our start of our wedding planning was super easy. We knew everyone we were using. We emailed everyone to say, how much is it? This is the date. Book us in. We did very little. We would chat. We'd sit and chat about it. We'd be like, what drinks should we have? And it was all so lovely right up until 2 months before our wedding.
So then at 2 months before, how were you feeling?
Probably, pretty stressed, I guess. Again, we were working all the way quite close to the day, so like it kind of all built up towards the end, and there was some last minute, like we left transport way late, like that was quite stressful, even though I didn't end up resolving it, you did, so but it was quite stressful to think like something quite important, and then the accommodation where a lot of our guests had to pull out, so things that aren't in your control. But for me, it's just family. Like my family has always been pretty chill throughout my whole life, but fucking hell, like I've never had drama at all until you get married. Like everyone's got an opinion. Mm-hmm. Everyone feels like they're the most important thing. I never understand people in weddings, and going to weddings quite a lot, working bartending or just being close to it because of Georgie. I hear it's the same thing for it's not unique to me or to Georgie. Mm-hmm. I think it's just people's families. I don't know. There's something about a wedding that people have something to prove. Families, there's a competition between each other. I don't know. It's weird. That for me was the most stressful bit. It was people.
What a bit of advice would you both give to, for example, if it was your family or Georgie's family, like being on the other end of it when it's not your family? Because I'm sure Georgie had stronger opinions on certain things. If she was like your family, or if it was your family, Brian would be like, well, your family, of course. How do you avoid going at each other when it's something, again, it's not in your control, but it's issue.
I think the hardest thing for me is that I know that Brian was upset.
Yeah.
And there's not like, so your sister couldn't come because she's in Australia and there was issues with passports and blah blah blah. So we're not even angry at her. Like there's nothing to be angry at, but I still can't thingy the disappointment for Brian. But equally then selfishly, I've got to change the table plan. We've got to uninvite people, which changes our numbers. We could have invited other people. Like it's just all the little bits that stem off it. Like for me, it was hard because it just happened to be that it was a lot of Brian's side that were kind of like letting him down. So then, which is why weirdly that bit of the speech is in, which I think you saw 2 episodes ago. A bit in my speech is like,
you're never alone.
If you feel alone, because I know that that's probably how you felt more than anything before our wedding. God, this is a bit emotional.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you just need contingency plans. You need to just be like, things could change, even though you have this is what we're going to do. Things might change, and I think you have to. If you're a bit flexible leading up to a wedding, you're going to be less disappointed.
And also remembering that you're there for each other. Like,
but you do get very sucked into. It's really easy to say, and I wonder if the people that are listening to this that are really close to their wedding will probably understand it more than the people that are further away. But you get so consumed, and it's really easy to be like, oh, it's like all it is about us getting married. But at that moment, 2 weeks before our wedding, that doesn't really. You're not even thinking about that at that point because you're trying to send off final table plans, final thing. Like you've got, and when people start dropping out, we had 2 people not come, which pissed us off. We were lucky we could then invite some evening guests, but for other people, they don't have that. So then that would have been hundreds of pounds that we just think, do you know what? Fuck you. Like, it's just annoying. It's just rude is what it gets to.
When you're doing your own wedding, you think it's all about you, but then you forget there's, potentially hundreds of people that have lives to live and plan. I mean, we had ours on New Year's Eve, so maybe some of my family couldn't come from like cousins wise. They couldn't come because they had other plans. You forget that. Yeah, okay, cool. You've got. It seems like the biggest day of our lives to us because it is, but to other people it could just be another day. And I think you just need to accept that what's going to happen is going to happen. As long as like you turn up and get married and your friends and family are there.
Yeah.
Did you ever feel at a point that Georgie was dealing with like, because we get it a lot where our brides stereotypically will be like, we're doing everything, the groom's doing nothing. Like,
yeah, but then that is
He's like, yeah,
but that is the stereotypical.
You're right.
That's the stereotypical. I didn't care because Georgie's the wedding planner anyway, and she's always been the organised person in our relationship. So
did she ever use it against you?
Yeah. No, not use it against him, but there were many times
like,
that
I'm doing fucking everything.
When he'd be like, I'm really stressed. I'm like, you're fucking joking because you had one like drink.
All you had to do was transport and you fucked it up.
Yeah. But then I think I'm quite easygoing with stuff like that anyway. Like
maybe it's just like, again, like when you do your list, it's like, I'll look after that.
Yeah.
You deal with that, and then that's what you've got to kind of.
I think I'd advise for anyone who's just got engaged to just sit down and actually have a meeting about it.
Yeah.
And just have quite a formal like.
But then we say that. But then I did give you transport.
Yeah. I never fully committed to that though.
No.
He didn't sign on the dotted
line.
No, I know.
He got transport and drink.
Yeah, but I only got that because you gave up on it.
No, it's because I didn't want to do it. I said from the start that transport is not my ball.
It was never mine.
Well,
no one's balls.
You wanted to get married somewhere out in the sticks.
You wanted to.
Did you hear that?
You wanted to.
So you didn't want to get married there?
Who chose that venue?
Us. Me.
Correct.
Again, that's a key point though. I feel like you both have to kind of like agree on it to be like, we both made that decision. Like I was talking to a client yesterday and about a band, and they were like, well, I don't want to say yeah, or they don't want to say yeah, and then they were like, well, whose fault is it if they're shit?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, you've both got to commit to it.
Yeah.
Like if you're both not sure, then this is not the right
I think
option.
you made a valid point when we were planning everything, is you were like, I trust your judgment on stuff that I'm not really fussed on. So like a venue, although it would be important to you, you would fully trust my judgment that I'm going to choose a good venue, and therefore you can go with it.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing that I was worried about that you did for the wedding. Mainly, I mean, I'd hope you wouldn't have done anything shit due to the fact that you do it as a job. But
was there anything you didn't like, or anything you think if we went back you wouldn't do it?
No.
No, I know that there's things he would add on.
Yeah, like what?
You would add a second videographer.
Yeah.
To come and get your stuff.
Yeah, but we had photos of it, so it's not the end of the world. It would have been nice to have it in the video of. Like doing up your cufflinks and stuff like that. That'd be cool. But again, for the cost that is, I would have happily not done it for the cost it was going to cost.
You can see yourself doing it in the mirror, can't you?
Yeah. No, it's in like, it would be nice if the budget was.
What else would you add if we had budget left?
What else would we have had?
What would you have added if we had budget left? Because you're very lucky as a groom that you do actually see a lot of weddings. Whereas actually other grooms don't see any of it. And so they're probably going in even blinder, being like, again, why the fuck do we need gold cutlery?
Probably a saxophonist.
Nice. Yeah.
Maybe in the pub bit when everyone's
Yeah,
kind of
that would be
outside.
cool.
Other than that, I think we had pretty much everything that we both wanted.
Was there anything that you wouldn't have spent on again?
No, genuinely, I don't think there was anything.
Fuck you.
Maybe no, because
Black
we
cutlery.
had enough food. Like food and drink was a free bar, and we had plenty of food all day.
The most
Like,
important
I
thing
think
for
for
you
me-
was the free bar. That was our kind of,
Yeah.
we have to.
But again, we're in a lucky situation that we bring our own drinks. We do it cheaper than most people probably can. But yeah, that was important, and we spent more money on a bartender. And yeah, I mean, we still got tons of alcohol in the garage. So
So, stag do's? Did you have a stag do?
yeah,
What's your thought on strippers at stag do's?
I had 4.
You didn't.
It was me. It was me, Jade, Hannah.
It's a difficult one. Like, I'm not very laddie. I have some mates that are like that, and I've been to stag do's where there's been a stripper there, and it's awkward. I find it awkward,
He texted me the whole time like, this is disgusting.
and that's not even me.
she
That's
ate you.
that's not even me being like some whipped
Miss
like
you.
genuinely.
Whopper.
It's an awkward thing. Like,
Okay.
like
I
and-
think a strip club
yeah,
is sexier
still seedy,
than,
but
because
it's
you
less-
said that they just came into the
No,
hotel room.
I'd rather a stripper than a strip club.
No, absolutely not, because it was like,
no.
Yeah, but I feel like strip club's too X-rated.
I felt the whole time. I just felt sorry for her.
Yeah.
I was looking at her going, I'm sad for you that you have to do, like, genuinely. That's not
Yeah.
even me. I actually felt like
but also
was
there's
just-
no mood lighting in a hotel room, is there? The photo you sent me, it was just
it
literally
was
like this
it was-
podcast room
yeah,
set up, and it's like,
it just made me. I mean, this lighting in here is way better. It was quite sad.
How do you feel about like going too far on a stag do? Like, were you worried that you were gonna get stitched up?
I thought I would get stitched up more than I did. They got me drunk and stuff, but they could have taken much
yeah, but
more.
what's too far? Would you have at some point said, I'm not doing that?
Because I do feel like there's a lot of pressure that when you're on a stag do with a load of mates and family or whoever's there, that as a guy, the aim is to get you as drunk as possible.
Yeah, but I think that
to the
is
point where you're uncomfortable. And I feel like
Yeah.
I'm not against the getting. I mean, get them drunk. I think that is the tradition.
mean,
isn't
they
it? I
made
mean, it's
you
not a
vomit
great
in a
tradition,
cupboard.
but it is the what?
They made you vomit in a cupboard.
They didn't make me.
They got you so drunk you vomited in a cupboard.
Yeah,
who's cupboard?
He thought it was a fire exit.
but then there's two sides, isn't it? There's two sides there, isn't it? Like, you want to have stories and memories.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to get crazy drunk for that to happen, but you want to do something a bit like, well, we remember this for the rest of our lives and some
Yeah.
funny stories, which we did get. But then there's some people who are way laddier than me, and I think, like, I would view it too far, like getting people naked or making them cheat on their wife or future wife, obviously, which happens all the time.
I don't like it when people like tie people up to like lampposts and stuff.
Yeah.
I think
No.
it's just like
anything
fucking cruel. Isn't
anything
it?
long that'll have long-term lasting effects should not be done.
Yeah.
You vomiting in a cupboard is not going to
okay.
affect your future
Yeah.
life. Them shaving off your eyebrows is long-term going to be annoying for your
I don't know. I think
eyebrows.
the tradition of just ripping into the groom,
Yeah.
I think it's quite funny. I'm not against it.
Lad,
they-
lad.
Yeah, but then like
Lads on tour.
like a group of rugby lads going away, some
it's
weird
different.
shit's gonna happen, and like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be involved in that. I don't want. Yeah, it's not.
They were good that they picked you up in the middle of the night. You had to wear a white tank top. You had to have warm.
Yeah, it was
Stella.
embarrassing. Like, I
Like,
should.
they'd embarrassed
I was
him.
ready to be embarrassed, and yeah, I was
What was
pissed
your-
at like 4
what
in
was
the
your
morning.
hat?
I love
No, same penis forever, wasn't it? Didn't you have to wear that hat?
same vagina forever.
Same vagina forever.
So yeah, pretty
But equally, my dad was on that stag too. Like, I wasn't
You
worried
knew,
at home.
yeah, like it was like
yeah. It was never going to be crazy because none of them were really crazy, and your dad was there, so
Yeah.
like it was never going to be.
Did it meet your expectations of what you hoped your stag do would be like?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
And it was cool because I didn't know where we were going, and then we ended up going to Edinburgh, so it was quite cool to go on a flight and stuff like that. So yeah, it was nice.
Suit shopping. Did you have a say? Did you know what suit you wanted? Was that one part of the wedding that you were like, that's mine. I'm looking after that. You're having no involvement in it, bitch.
Well, I knew I wanted a tux, but I didn't. Again, I don't have that much of a. Georgie picked. I think I wore 2, sent you a photo of them, and you said the velvet one.
No, I came with you. I was there, hun.
I sent you a photo. Was it the second time?
Awkward.
Anyway, there was an option of 2, and I really didn't care which one it was because they both looked smart.
We went together with my dad.
Yeah.
And we went to a hire shop. No, we went to another suit shop first, had a look around. There wasn't really anything. So we went to this other shop where because we talked about hiring or buying, and we realised that Brian's never going to wear a tux ever again. So we were like, we'll just hire it. And then we went to a shop, and then with my dad, and there was either the velvet, you tried on some different waistcoats, you tried on but you're not really
all I knew was I wanted to
into
dress smart in a tux with a bow tie.
He did put his foot down.
That was my
low waistcoats. He was like, not wearing that.
Yeah, I didn't want to wear that. I didn't want to wear. But other than that, I mean, we spent, it was like 50 quid on hiring the tux, and it was a really nice tux.
Don't say
really
that.
nice.
You've lied. It was 100 and something.
Just for me, it was 50 quid.
No, it wasn't 50 quid.
It was.
No, it was £220 for the 3.
Yeah.
It's
For
not
the
50.
suit, it was 50 quid. I can assure you it was.
What? And then you added the shoes.
Yeah.
But it was £220 for 3 full things, and you had to get your own shirt
70 quid.
and something else, just so that people don't start messaging me and saying, "Where's the £50 suit?"
Yeah, it wasn't a lot.
No, it wasn't.
It
Expensive.
was way cheaper than buying.
Yeah. Okay. Should we get questions?
Are you ready? Quick fire, Brian.
Okay.
What would be a good gift for my new husband?
A watch.
What the fuck?
I think I'm not into watches, but I think generally, I think that's a good present.
How much would you spend on a groom's gift?
It's all relative. I would have been annoyed at Georgie if she spent more than a couple of hundred quid.
Yeah, I agree. Because did you feel pressure to get me a present?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought you did. You should have just asked me. I would have told you what to get.
Yeah, but then that's
No, I know. No, I know.
But I think as a general thing, a watch is quite nice. I wouldn't spend a ton of money on a really expensive watch, but that's just us. Some people, if they've got the money for it and that's what he's into.
Do you remember what your presents were?
Yeah.
Go on.
My gold ring.
Yeah.
Pokemon card.
Yeah.
Armbands.
No.
For swimming.
You don't have to explain that better. Yeah,
suit armbands to hold your shirt up. Yeah.
Nice. What's it like for grooms knowing that you just have to turn up to the wedding?
Fucking brilliant.
How to motivate groomsmen?
How to motivate groomsmen?
You're not one to answer.
Yeah, I'm not. And also, I've been to a lot of weddings where groomsmen. It depends on your mate, doesn't it? Because we did a wedding recently where the groomsmen were fucking useless. Like I was working on the bar and I was carrying stuff from where the drink was to the bar, and they were sat there getting drink out of the fridge I was putting beer into, sitting down and drinking the beer, watching me go back and forth. And you think, like, if it's not in you to just go, "Oh, do you want a hand, mate?" You can't. I don't think you can. Like, and even the groom was like, "Guys, can you help him?" And they just weren't. So I think there's some groomsmen that I just like maybe worked in hospitality before, and I'd like, "Yeah, cool, I'll give you a hand." I think it all comes down to the people.
Do you regret your groomsmen?
I don't regret the groomsmen, but I would have changed it. I would have added more people in.
Because you only had one best man.
Yeah, but there's people that helped and acted as groomsmen anyway.
Yeah.
Like at stag do's and stuff. But yeah, I think I would have added more people in. But
was there a lot of pressure to pick a best man? Because and I hope you don't mind me saying, you're not really like a guy's guy. You're not really you're not somebody that has 50 mates and different groups of friends. Like
it was always like my best man was always going to be my best man in my mind. So it was quite an easy one. Like we've drifted apart. We've gone close together again. We've drifted apart. But it made sense for me to pick him. So
would you ever we sack bridesmaids? Would you ever sack a groomsman on the run up, or is there not that much emotion in it for you?
Yeah, I can only speak for myself. There wouldn't have been much emotion. I wouldn't have given that. Yeah, I just accept that person was not doing anything, and then either move on or not speak to them very much afterwards and realise maybe they weren't that much of a mate.
Okay. Do you pay for the groomsmen's suits?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Question, and Georgie, you can answer after this.
Okay.
Do you think you helped enough with the wedding planning? Let me ask that again. Do you think you helped enough with the wedding planning?
I think a lot of guys can't win in this situation because they either
boo-hoo.
they either do more and get it wrong, which inevitably is going to happen, and then they just end up going to go, fine, you fucking do it, which is what's likely going to happen. Or you just accept that it's more important to the woman for them to go and do it. It's easier to just let that happen.
You were good when it came to loading the van and hold on.
Man jobs.
When it came to like
Sexist.
go time, as in we're getting married.
Yeah,
in
but
2
that's my
days.
strength in life.
You were like, right, I'm going to set the bar. I'm going to sort this stuff out. I'm going to carry everything. I'm going to put everything in the right place. And I think that you had enough opinion. Like, I wouldn't have wanted much more opinion from you, because otherwise it would have just started stepping on my toes and I'd be like, oh, it's my wedding.
I thought you said sucking on my toes then.
He didn't, no. But equally, I do think you could have been better when I was having mental breakdowns.
So this goes on to my next question.
Okay.
How did you support your wife and help her mental health during the planning process?
I mean...
Oh, he's deep when he wants to be.
No,
TikTok.
Was your mental health in decline?
I would say a few months before it was...
Yeah, but was it... I think it was life and then wedding planning on top of it.
It was the biggest year of my business that I'd ever done. Brian had quit his job. There was a lot happening.
There was more to it than just wedding planning.
Yeah, but there were bits where I was upset.
Yeah.
And you were kind of like, "What? It's just remember it's our day." And I'm like, "Fuck off."
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much advice I can give to guys for that. I think you just need to accept that in the wedding planning stage, a woman's going to want to do it all, but then want help at the same time. So I think set that boundary and be like, look, what is it you want me to do? Set the jobs early.
I think you have to do that thing of, what do you want? Do you want advice, help, or for me to listen? Because sometimes I just wanted to rant to you that people were pissing me off.
I think a lot of it for us, and I think probably for most women planning their own wedding, is they feel probably alone at some stages that they're doing everything.
You didn't appreciate the pressure that was on me, and this is not even to do with me working in the industry. The pressure on a woman on her wedding day is mad, and I just don't think that...
Yeah, I hold my
that.
hands up. I don't, but how am I expected to? It's not. From a guy's
I didn't
perspective,
hate
not.
you before we got
But
married.
also, again, I would have got married in a registry office, and
That's the
that'd be
problem.
end of it.
That's in the back of his head where he's like, "You fucking wanted the big
Exactly.
wedding.
No,
It's all your
but
fault."
that is it. Like that was a lot of girls put that pressure on themselves, and I know it's easy for me to just say that because a girl's still going to do it, but if you can try and work on putting less pressure on yourself, then that's going to help.
Yeah, but that's like saying, "Don't think about it. It's all right. Don't think about it."
Is there time for a round of golf in the morning? 1:30 ceremony.
You know the answer.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah, I reckon you could get 9 holes in.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Fucking idiot.
What time do golf clubs open?
9 o'clock.
Absolutely
No.
not. because
Maybe earlier.
I've done
Earlier,
it.
probably.
I have seen it before, and I'm like, "Where is the groom?" When I used to work at a golf club venue, and he was out on the golf course,
I can
and
see,
I had to get a buggy
see,
out and be like, "Get in now
I
and
can
get
see
changed."
why you do it, because it will take your mind off
But-
it in straight. But obviously, if it's going to make you late, then no.
Wait, were you pranging in the morning?
Were you what?
Pranging,
The fuck's that mean?
stress him.
No.
Oh.
You knew what that meant. He's done with the kids.
You had I think you got let down a few times. That's what pissed me off more than anything. So
My
your plans for
expectation of the
night
day
before-
lowered on the day, and not in a bad way, but as in like I was like, let's just do what
He
we've
woke
done.
up in the morning by himself. I didn't like that.
I
That's
didn't
not,
care
that's
about
not
that.
what
Yeah,
but that's not
not
what I'd planned for you.
No,
Oh, you should have said I would have gone round.
Bet you would.
don't tell her.
Strippers here.
I could have asked Jade.
Or Jade.
No. I
But
felt,
that upset me. Did it actually upset you or not?
No, genuinely not.
Because surely that to you just woke up and you're like normal fucking day.
No, that makes me sad because it's like I don't feel like you should ever wake up on your own on your
No, I
birthday and
agree.
stuff as well.
But equally, Brian has never given a shit about that.
No, yeah.
No,
But,
that's not.
but did you... So going back to the golf thing, I liked that you were available in the morning, that if we had forgotten stuff, like you had a list of stuff that you had to remember to bring because we'd just forgotten to bring it day before. I don't think you could have squeezed in a golf.
No, in my situation, no, I wouldn't.
But you were
have done.
travelling up as well.
Yeah, but if it depends.
What did you
on-
do the night before the wedding? Went to our friend's house.
Went to just had a couple of drinks. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this is the most important question that I'm going to ask you, and I need a really good answer on it.
You know what?
How did you manage to get a girl like Georgie? She's so out of your league. And I
Georgie
don't
write this?
know who wrote that,
Yeah, definitely not Georgie.
but
is
her
it?
name begins with G.
Yeah. Well, the honest answer is she pursued me hard.
No, I did not.
I was not interested for a long period
You
of time.
absolute fucking liar.
Georgie called me out the blue one day.
All I will do is ask you one question.
Wait,
and
didn't
then we'll
Georgie
let people...
make you cheat on your girlfriend?
No.
No, I didn't cheat on anyone. But
We didn't cheat. I had a boyfriend.
Georgie
too.
went
We
back
didn't
to her
cheat.
ex-boyfriend after we first got
Fuck's sake,
after 3 months.
Sorry, are we going to say that you kissed my friend or not?
And then and then we were done.
You're going to listen.
And then
It was over.
And then a few months later, Georgie calls me
No,
out
hold
the
on a
blue.
minute. We weren't together.
Wait, what did the phone call say?
We weren't together. Can I
She
just
was
say?
out. She was out clubbing, and she was
Booty
like,
call.
she wanted
It was a
to
booty
talk.
call.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. But she just wanted to talk to me.
was a booty
She
call.
It was a booty call.
she came calling back.
Hi,
No.
Graham, what are you up to?
This is actually not what happened.
That is what
We
happened.
weren't together. I carried on going out with my boyfriend that I was with, and happily would have married him.
Did you
Then
split up with
you, yeah, but only for a little bit.
Wait, was that the boy that came around and did your plumbing the other day?
No. But then you swapped shifts at work and everything to be around me. So don't lie.
Yeah, we were basically boyfriend and girlfriend for a few months.
Cute, for a few months.
No, we
It was like 2-3 months.
Okay,
You're clingy, hun.
sum up.
So anyway, she
You're-
pursued
No,
me.
wait, I had questions. I didn't pursue you. I did think you were fit, though. Do you? I want to know how honest you're going to be here. Do you think the groom's parents should share the cost of the wedding with the bride's parents?
Yeah, I think so. I think in an ideal world, everyone should chip in, but it depends on your tradition, your religion, all that sort of
Depends
thing.
on your family situations. We don't have families that are...
It would be, if both sides have enough money to help out, then yeah, why not?
Would you be surprised if your family had money and then didn't offer to support?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about the groom showing emotion when the bride enters? And did you feel pressure to react a certain way?
I think beforehand, yes, but then on the day, you're not really thinking about it.
Do you remember what you thought?
Shit's fair.
Tits look great.
Yeah, your tits were out. but
Please don't say that. You know I don't like that.
Tits McGee, weren't
Did you actually think that?
No.
Like, you promise?
Yeah, promise.
That was not convincing, was it?
No.
Great
I
knockers.
think you've said this before. It's like you just kind of everything. You kind of zone in. You just kind of focus in on what's happening. So you're not thinking about all the stuff leading up to it. You're worried about that, but then
Were you, I want an honest answer now, were you more emotional seeing Isla or Georgie?
I would say genuinely both equal.
I'll take that.
I
Did
think it
you
was
feel
equal.
emotional at our legal wedding or not?
Yeah, that felt more real.
Really?
Because it was real.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Me and Ida walked down together then. I thought that'd get
As I get older, I think the formalities of things mean more like the tradition of stuff. So like the actual genuinely doing it and like this is legal, she's marrying us, blah, blah, blah. That felt more like, oh, bloody hell.
See, that didn't...
Georgie was there just for the ride.
No,
Yeah.
but that... And I don't... Again, you're just going to cut down this so I sound like a right bitch for the whole thing. That didn't mean anything to me. The bit that meant the stuff to me was being walked down the aisle by my dad.
Yeah.
Being stood saying
I'm
the words
not
I
minimizing
want to say.
that was our wedding day, but the actual formality and doing it properly is in like it was actually
But I
legal.
suppose that's what marriage was to you, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
The whole point of this conversation is you had
exactly.
been happy with
like
that.
I
as your
said, I
wedding.
would have. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. What did you think of what it looked like? Is it what you expected or not?
Again, I had no.
Do you not picture it?
You built this whole thing up like this is what I'm wearing. You chat to your mates. Like you looked amazing on our wedding day. That's not. I had no ideas of what your wedding dress would look like.
But you didn't even think about it.
I knew it'd be white.
It was ivory, actually.
This just sums up the whole thing,
Yeah, I
doesn't
know.
it?
I think women typically overthink what you're thinking. You know when they say, oh, what the boy's up to, he's not texting me back, and then it shows them all just like running into a wall.
Yeah.
Like, it's that. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Do men really not care about the personal touches and styling?
Beforehand, no. But that's why you need two people on the opposite end of the spectrum, because the personal touches on the day were really nice and I loved on the day, everything looked nice, and if it hadn't, I would have been like, fucking hell, this looks shit. But
Good
because
to know.
but because it didn't, I'm like, oh yeah, actually in hindsight, really good. Beforehand, I didn't.
What
I
were
didn't really think about
What were your 3 favourite moments of our wedding?
Speeches I thought were really cool.
Yeah.
Doing whiskey and cigar bar was
Yeah.
quite personal because all the people that like went on the stag do, there was a kind of moment for us separately to have a drink, have some whiskey. and then obviously open up to everybody else. So that was quite a cool vibe of the day. And then dancing at the end of the night. I think that final song, like that one picture that Pat took where everyone's kind of like around us.
You got a bit emotional during that bit.
Yeah, I did, yeah. That
It's so, like a surreal moment, isn't it? Like you're never going to be in a room with all of those people again.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like, oh, fucking hell, everyone is here for
I
us.
also feel like music is such a good, like it
100%.
changes the mood on and it can make you feel really
You
sentimental.
cared quite a lot about music, actually. Music. You had an input
I think it's
in that.
because I've worked a lot of weddings and it's really obvious when music's either not on or it's not the right vibe for what's happening. And you're like, this could be so much better if, especially working on bars, it needs to be an atmosphere. Otherwise the bar, like if you've ever worked behind a bar when it's quiet, it's like, it's the most awkward thing in the world. Like as soon as there's good music in the background, everyone's happier and it makes the kind of atmosphere. So I think being on that end of it, you realise music's important.
What would be your top 3 tips to give grooms in the lead up to their wedding to make the planning and the day the best it can be?
Happy wife to be.
Firstly, you both need to agree on a budget. And I know we've spoken about this before, but finances are a huge part of why people split up. And I think if you get that wrong in the sort of leading up to the wedding stage, it's going to cause a lot of issues. It might be higher than one person and lower than the other person's expectations. But if you meet in the middle and say, this is what it's going to be and do your best to stick to it, everyone's going to be happier. Number 2, you need to compromise on a lot of things on both sides. I think if you don't really care that much about what styling is going to be, like I did, just be there in a conversation, put a bit of input in, but be in a position whereby you're both going to have to compromise on certain things. For us, it was drink from my perspective, and for you, it was everything else. And thirdly, you need to understand that from a girl's perspective, this is going to be the biggest day of their life. A lot of guys just think it's another day, it's just a piece of paper or whatever. But if you understand that actually this is the biggest day of their life, you can be more compassionate and helpful on the lead up to the wedding.
Cute.
And how do we get Jack to propose?
Stop talking about it.
No, that's such a shit answer.
Be the best potential wife you can.
Fuck off.
I've been doing it for years. I've been doing wife behaviour on wife duties on girlfriend salary. Yeah. Fuck this. I'm out. Right, sum up the whole wedding planning experience in 3 words.
Ooh.
Agonising.
Agonising. Explain that more.
Ooh.
He just wants to use big words.
Strong
doesn't
word,
he?
isn't it? You've got his dictionary out before this.
Because there's a lot of
dictionary.
There's a lot of anticipation mixed with happiness, but then also being let down. And I think if you can anticipate there is going to be some letdowns, then that will soften it.
This goes back to my tip before where it was just lower all expectations of everything.
Yeah.
We should have told nobody nothing.
Yeah. It's
Nothing
a weird mixture of being super happy. This is really fun.
I feel like the day before our wedding, we got fucking excited.
Yeah.
Like that's when
it was like when you book things and you go, oh yeah, this is going to be really fun. Those days are really cool. But then there's also a lot of other days where it's like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on here? So again, like that is true. It sounds really pessimistic, but if you do lower your expectations, as in, okay, we're going to get married. This is what we want. If people mess us around and only 10 people turn up, we need to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Did you...
10 people.
Yeah.
I feel like the legal day, would you recommend...
I haven't got tip 2 and 3 yet.
Well, words. I know, I'm going back. We'll come back to your words. You can remember agonising, but would you recommend the legal day to people? Because I try and push, obviously, having a celebrant, but from a guy's point of view, was it just more hassle for you to do 2 weddings?
It's definitely more hassle. It is. Like, you can't lie about that. It's more planning. It's more logistics. It's more... People have to keep another 3 dates. It's going to cost more money.
But does that outweigh?
I really enjoyed it. Yeah, but it was just a really nice night out that had a lot of meaning behind it, wasn't it? Like that's kind of what it was. It depends. I liked having a more personal wedding day.
Yeah.
So I can see why you push it.
I feel like we just had such low expectations of our legal ceremony because to us it was like we're just going to go sign.
Yeah, but I think you had less than I did.
What?
You had less expectation than I did.
Yeah, I know, that's what I mean. So, but that's why that day just totally exceeded all expectations because our expectations of it were like, well, we're just going out for a night.
Depends what kind of bride you are, isn't it? Like you're extra. You want everything you do, you try and do more than other people.
Wow.
Yeah, But that's okay. So that was expected. There's going to be some people who just want a minimal wedding.
Would you say I was a good bride?
Yeah.
I can answer quicker.
Oh, that was slow. Keep that.
Or do you want an
pause in
honest
there,
answer?
bro.
Do you want me to actually think about my answer? Or?
Yeah, actually think about it.
Yeah, you were good.
Not convinced.
No, I know.
Isn't it when you like look to the left or something that you're like?
Yeah.
You definitely looked.
I don't think I was that bad.
Yeah, you weren't. You
No,
genuinely
everything you're
weren't.
saying sounds sarcastic.
Okay. Anyway, what 2 other words, please, to describe your wedding planning experience? We just itched our heads at the same time.
Do we? Look at us.
Emotional. I'm not really an emotional person, really. But there was points where like you think about the meaning behind things. Again, this goes back to like tradition and things like that. Because I'd, up until a couple of years before, never really thought about what it all meant and why it was important and stuff. When you actually say, oh, my fiance, and you're planning when it becomes real, and you start thinking, actually, yeah, there is meaning behind it.
My wifey.
Yeah.
One more word.
Expensive.
Oh.
No, it is. There's no...
Mate, ours was so cheap compared to what it should have been, could have been, would have been.
I'm not saying it wasn't, but it's still relative to other expenses in life. It's expensive, isn't it?
You were only doing it once.
That's how people end up in lots of debt, isn't it?
Oh, God, he's so boring. You are
It is,
boring
though.
with money. No, I know, you keep us safe, but...
If you can afford a $100,000 wedding, do it. But don't put yourself in a situation where it's going to cause hardship.
To be fair, since our wedding, we're not now in any... Like, we're not financially worse off because of our wedding, which is quite a nice feeling.
It's not about being cheap and spending as little as possible. If it's in the budget and you've got the money for it, fucking go ahead. But as soon as you put yourself like that's where we had to push back and forward a lot, is you wanted to spend more money somewhere. I said, actually, that doesn't feel comfortable for me. It wasn't even about we haven't got the money sitting there. It's I don't feel comfortable spending that money.
This is my problem. This was my problem with it, is that we could have spent more, but you wouldn't let me.
It's not about letting. It's honestly, it's about feeling comfortable spending that money.
Yeah, I know.
How did you feel about Georgie spending more from her own personal account on things because you wouldn't let her do it?
I would rather she've not done it. But
Yeah, but there were certain things that we had to have.
Like,
I'm trying to think of stuff Brian doesn't get the extras are actually the most important parts.
But my question to you is, should the extras not be put in the budget?
No, because...
If you know it's going to happen.
Let me tell you, and I will tell you this, and I told you this, the same thing. Just because you give a budget, all of the stuff that you have to have for a wedding, food, drink, music, styling, that took the budget. I couldn't cut back anywhere. There was nowhere to cut back on the main stuff that we'd done, unless you wanted to not have a band or unless you wanted to not have a free bar. Funny how the free bar
set a realistic budget. Then,
you wouldn't let me set a realistic budget. You wouldn't let me go higher.
Correct.
This is where we argued, because I was like, your expectations of the cost of a wedding were totally unrealistic.
to conclude, would you do it again?
Yeah, I would.
Mr. and Mrs. Mitchell, everybody.
Yeah, as in obviously we don't need to do it again, but yeah, like
Wait,
whoa,
you're
whoa,
going to
whoa.
marry someone else?
10-year anniversary.
I think you should do a New Year's Eve party every
I'd
year.
love to, but we haven't got anywhere to do it. Our house isn't big enough.
I would care less about other people's opinions on our wedding if we did it again.
Do you feel like the weddings shaped you into a different person that you are today?
I feel like we're closer because, and I think a lot of people have this, is that there's people since the wedding that we haven't spoken to.
I think it's one of the hardest things in life, and it is even more heightened when you get married, of seeing your partner be let down by people.
Yeah.
And that is like, I wouldn't say we're going through it now, but like I've seen it happen with Jack a little bit more.
Yeah.
And like, you can see
I
it
will-
hurts,
yeah.
you know, like when you
Yeah.
people have got such genuine good
I
souls
feel-
and hearts, you're like,
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
don't deserve that.
I do feel
And that's hard from
better that we're now like the three of us. Like the wedding made me realize that we've got really good friends and family around us, the people that were there for us. But actually, the nucleus of us is us three, and actually, that's probably what
you
has
can
come from the
conquer
wedding.
the world.
Literally, as long as the three of us together, we're fine.
Yeah. But that's what marriage is. That
Yeah.
is what it's meant to be, isn't it?
And now I have the same surname,
Woo!
and I had to get Brian to change all the documentation because I didn't get round to it.
Still haven't changed your passport.
I know I will. We need to do it before the honeymoon.
Correct.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, they won't give you all the honeymoon offers otherwise.
I know. Well,
the
we
discounts.
booked the honeymoon in my married name, so we've got to change it. God's sake,
There
I'll
we
stop
go.
going on holiday in between. I feel like we might need to get you back for another episode at some point.
I feel like
to do bar and money.
Well, I feel like we need another episode from all of their DMs based on this episode.
Yes.
Go speak to your partners. What are your
Yes.
frustrations? And pop them in the DMs to us, and then we'll bring Brian back. Does everyone want Brian back?
Yeah, we'll do
Let
a
us
poll.
know. If you want
He's here
Brian
anyway.
back, go leave us a review.
Yes.
Our review's 1-star review.
If you listen on Spotify, review 5-star if you think it's worth 5 stars.
No, don't say that. It is 5 stars.
Well, gotta be honest, haven't you? iTunes, leave a
Communicate.
review and
some
5-star.
And some words.
And so, yeah, write some stuff because we do listen to the feedback. Don't be horrible though.
Yeah, guys, can I just say one thing? Please, can you stop calling us fat?
I feel like we'll talk about on next week's episode, the catch-up episode, because we have been called chunky
I
bunkies.
swear to God, if you call me fat
And-
one more time, I'm not doing it.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And Brian, you're gonna have to make me look skinny again.
And go on YouTube and subscribe.
Does that upset you
What?
that people call us fat on there?
Do you know how much hate I get online?
No, yeah, but you were controversial on purpose.
Someone's calling your wife fat.
Yeah. Some
Some
guy, do you know what?
online
Some guy
troll.
did that to us in a car park once, and Brian got out and started they were going to have a fight.
Wait, what?
I swear to God, so years ago, I think I just had Isla. She was definitely like young enough for me to call it baby weight. And something happened in this car park, and there was a bit of road rage going on. He pulled into a space.
He pulled in. No, I was trying to go into a space. He then went to pull in front of me, and I put my arms up like, dude, what are you doing? So he turned around and put his middle finger up at me.
Yeah.
So he pulled into the spot. I then pulled up next to him and looked at him, and then he called you fat.
No. Then Brian then opened my window so that they could then shout at each other, and they were shouting, and he went, "Well, your fucking girlfriend's fat anyway." And I was like, "What the fuck? What did I do?" And then Brian got out, and then he got out, and then I was like, "Guys, there's kids in the car. Let's." And then we had to then walk around. Both parties went into Toys R Us, and you know when you walk past the aisles and you see each other, I was like, "This is the most awkward I've ever felt." But didn't
but
stop
yeah.
eating McDonald's
Good
from
times.
that. Anyway, yeah. So Brian says like, share, follow.
And stop calling us fat.
Stop calling us fat. Thanks for coming on our episode, Brian.
Than's, Brian.
Thanks for having me.
Go
I'm
back
going to
and
go
edit.
sit over that side now
Yeah.
and produce the rest.
Make sure you don't edit it to make you sound really good in the thing.
I'll put fat filters on you and slim filters on me.
Great. Thanks, Brian.
See you later.
Bye.